Referral Raven has got some new changes, and I want to go through those real quick. Starting here in the inbox, when you log in, you'll see these new tabs: in, out, and tools. In simply means referrals are coming in to the action buckets. Referrals are coming in. If you are a specialist office, you are going to want to spend most of your time on the in tab, where this is where your referrals will be, where you'll work your referrals on the inside. Now, if you want to send a referral, or if you're an office that mostly just sends referrals out, you don't receive referrals, you mostly send them out. You're going to want to be in the out tab. Pretty self-explanatory, but it is a bit confusing when you first log in and wonder what happened, where did everything go. This is a lot better, a lot easier in the long run, and it makes a lot more sense for working referrals. Referrals coming in, referrals going out. So back to where we were. We're going to focus on the in bucket now, the in tab. The difference here now is we have what we break this down as action buckets. Okay, so we have holding buckets and action buckets. Action buckets, that's where the action is. That's where you're going to spend all your time, in the action buckets. You don't have to worry much about the holding buckets, but we'll show you how those work. So in the action buckets, referrals are coming in, and they're coming into the open new. And let me show you how that looks right here. So a referral comes in, it goes to the open new bucket. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 options that we can use against this open new bucket to process this referral. Our two least desirable options are unable to contact or decline. If we cannot get a hold of this person at all, we're going to have to put them in unable to contact bucket, and when we do that, it will we'll be able to leave a note and the date that we called, and the doctor that sent them will be notified that we were unable to contact this referral. So there's maybe a chance we can still spark it back up and get it figured out with the referring doctor's help, but for now we're just unable to contact them. And you can decide what you determine is unable. Is three tries justification for going to the unable to contact? That's up to you to decide. We call them and ask them to come in and schedule a consult, and they simply say we're not interested. So we move them into decline, give them a reason. The doctor is notified, and we let the doctor know that they've declined treatment. The other option is callback. So we call them and try and get them in. They say, no, give me a call back in 2 weeks. No, 2 weeks. No, a month. No, 3 weeks. We keep moving them into the callback bucket. Every time they say to call us back on such and such a date, we put that date in. On that date, they get moved back up into the open new bucket. So these are holding buckets. This is an action bucket. We're moving them from the action bucket into the holding buckets for a future time when Referral Raven will make them available to us again. So our ultimate goal here is to get them into the consult scheduled holding bucket. And let's take a look at what that looks like in Referral Raven. We're in open new. Okay, in Referral Raven we can view or edit the referral. We can decline them, consult schedule, callback, or unable to contact from this menu here. We just click that on the referral, and we can say, okay, we're going to move this one to consult schedule. We give it the date, and we're scheduling the consult for tomorrow. Or we say we're going to call them back. We're going to call them back. They want us to call them back in a week, and we hit save. So they've gone into the holding buckets. Remember I said the holding buckets are not really that important, but we have them here. You can see you got 2 people in callback right now, 1 in consult scheduled, and so forth. So we've only done these so far. So they're just here holding. They're out of our way. Our goal right now is to take this number from 261 down to 0. So looking back at our flow chart here, we've moved them into consult scheduled. Now, if we schedule them for a consultation, and the consultation schedule date was yesterday, Referral Raven wants to know what happened at the consultation. And that's where we come into the next action bucket, which is consult follow-up. We'll go take a look at that over here. Consultation follow-up right here. These are the people who had a consultation at some point in the past. Their date was scheduled at some point in the past. Referral Raven doesn't know what happened and is asking you to let it know what happened. What did we do at that consultation? And here's our options. Did we start treatment? If we started treatment, we can move them into treatment started by putting in a treatment started date. Did we schedule treatment? If so, we can give them a treatment scheduled date. Did they just want us to call them back? They weren't ready at this point. They needed more time. They needed to think about it. They have their treatment plan is more money than they were thinking about spending. And now they just are not ready to schedule or start, so we're going to move them into treatment callback. The other option is they could have decided at this point that they just want to decline. They can't do it. You know, thanks for your time. We're not interested. So if we move them here, we can move them there with a note for their reason, and then that information goes back to the doctor that referred them. One more option, they just simply didn't show for the appointment. If they didn't show for the appointment, we move them back up into the callback because they've still not got a treatment plan. So they're going to move back up into this funnel system where we're going to continue to try and call them and get a consultation scheduled. So that is an option as well. When any of these happen, we trigger an exam. We trigger a task for an exam letter to be generated. And that comes in later down the road. That's what this is. Because we've had an exam, now we want to just create a note or a task for that patient that we've had an exam. There should be an exam letter generated. And we put that into the correspondence bucket. So we don't need to get too distracted with that right now. We'll talk about that later. Let's take a look at what this looks like from within Referral Raven. Now we're here in Referral Raven. We're in the consultation follow-up bucket. We have these folks that had a consultation at some point in the past. Now this person, we started treatment on the 15th, or we started treatment on the 30th, and we're just going to save it. Now they've moved out. We know they've started treatment. This person, treatment is scheduled for the 9th. I'm going to save it. Okay, so treatment was scheduled. So now we started treatment and treatment was scheduled. So let's come over here and see what happens. Treatment was scheduled. All right, so on the 9th, on the 10th, the day after treatment was scheduled, Referral Raven's going to want to know again, hey, you scheduled someone for a treatment. What happened? On the 10th, they're going to show up in this next action bucket. Again, the action buckets are right here. And we're going to say treatment scheduled follow-up. Okay, so on the 10th, they would show up here and we'd say, what happened? Treatment was scheduled, did they show? So treatment was started or treatment was scheduled again. Maybe they wanted to push it out. We didn't start, this is less likely, but push it out and we're not ready to go yet. And we're ready to schedule treatment for another day. But typically they're going to, they schedule for treatment, they're going to start treatment. The other option is they came back in, treatment was scheduled, something happens, they backed out. So we're going to move them into treatment plan callback at this point. That would be treatment scheduled. We could say, okay, for some reason they didn't go through. We move them back in. We need to call them back again. All right. So typically they're going to get scheduled. They're going to go to treatment started. Now let's talk about the treatment plan callback bucket. So you could have a consultation that comes in, and they need to be called back. They need to be worked. They're not ready to just start treatment right away. They need to be worked. And this is where a lot of inefficiencies are in most of the offices that we deal with. Is we've gone to, the patient has come in, we've spent the time, we've given them a treatment plan. We know what they need, they know what they need. We have all this information, and now they're not ready to commit on the spot, and they leave. So we need to get them back in. We need to get their treatment done. We don't want them to slip through the cracks. And where we find a lot of practices is these patients that have already had this work invested in them are sitting in spreadsheets scattered throughout the office with different treatment coordinators and different people. And it's not a real good system that is easily managed and easy to oversee and easy to follow up on. So that's where this treatment plan follow-up bucket comes into play. We can easily see every interaction that's gone on with this potential patient or referral in the treatment plan follow-up bucket. So what we want to do here is we want to move them into treatment scheduled. So we want to get them from treatment plan follow-up and get them scheduled for treatment. Often they'll want another callback, and we can keep saying, okay, we'll call you back in a month, call me back in a year, call me back in 2 years, whatever it is, call them back. We'll move them into the callback bucket where they'll be out of our way, and then on that date they'll show back up in the treatment plan follow-up. They may be unable to contact. We can move them out here, or they may decline. In either of these situations, we move them out. The doctor that referred them to us is notified. Your patient declined. Your patient was unable to contact, which is helpful to the doctor referring the patients to you. And, it makes that office, that doctor, happy to send you more because they know you're on top of it. You're keeping track. You're updating them. You're keeping them informed of the process as they move through it. They appreciate that, and makes them more inclined to send more patients your way. So we get them into treatment scheduled, and back the same thing. We scheduled them for a date, and then the referral raven wants to know what happened on that date, where we can come back into treatment schedule follow-up, and we can tell referral raven what happened on that date. We started treatment. And the fourth, save. So that moves them into treatment started.